Oh, good morning. Freddie's in the house. I just had to show off the new coffee mug. Buddy of mine got it for me. He's also, he watches the show all the time too. So we just had to have that. And of course, as you know, Halloween is around the corner. We've got October creeping up on us, and I love it. Of course, many of you know October is my favorite month, absolutely. So, and the last time, of course, we were talking about movies and all that kind of stuff, and so we're going to get on with the show here. And I do appreciate everybody that is tuned in every Saturday morning for the show. And I know this has become your kind of your morning ritual, if you will. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and run through the comments here. No particular order. Also, you know, if your comment wasn't read, it's probably done up after the production of the video here, the program that we do, or it just got held back for some reason. Also know that if you're trying to post links and stuff like that, it can hold those back. There's also a moderator involved that does kind of, you know, remove kind of nasty comments that are just not really appropriate. So also that, and we also appreciate all the help we've been getting from the help that we've got for the channel, and doing a lot of the production work, the stuff, the technical stuff that I can't do, and so that I can just be the you know, the host, if you will. So all right, we've got Shane here. Shane says, good morning. Been looking forward to this radio show all week. I live on Washington State, and recently magazine capacity has been limited to 10 rounds, and semi-auto rifles have been banned. Unlawful laws, of course. Since then, I have noticed a lot of guys I know are moving towards 1911s and revolvers, lever guns, bolt guns. It's interesting going into a gun store. It's starting to look like the 70s as far as what is being sold. You know, I mean, I'd probably be, you know, I'd probably fit right in, because I you know, everything I like is kind of like that. So it's interesting going. I also have a confession. I like the new FN made high power. What is your thoughts on it? It isn't a high power, but it also has its own charm. It looks like something that came straight from the 80s. Okay, yeah, I've actually seen them. I've not fired one. I did see those when they came out. I don't know if they make them in black or not. The ones I seen were tan. I'm not the biggest fan of tan stuff, although I've had some things like that in the past when I was kind of dabbling around in that a little bit. But it is different. It is different. Now, not saying that, you know, I'm not taking away from the function, or I'm sure it's extremely well made or reliable and all that. I'm too much of an old dyed-in-the-wool traditional kind of person. I just I like stuff that's real traditional. If it, you know, looks as close it as it does to the original ones, then that's it. That's what does it for me. I'll give you a good example. I love the Single Action Army because I've watched a lot of those old John Wayne westerns and everything back when I was young. It had a huge impression on me. And I wouldn't want something with adjustable sights or all that kind of stuff, or just broke tradition. I guess you could say I'm kind of a purist in that matter. So I didn't really care for the way it looked. It looked kind of weird to me. But I'm sure it's actually really well made, and I'm sure it's excellent and done up, you know, superbly, because it is FN, and they've probably taken a lot of things that they've learned about the high power and installed it to that. I used to have the SA-35 Springfield, but I got rid of it. So it's just mainly because I kind of, you know, really, and I got to tell you, really what did it for me was I have a Commander lightweight 9mm 1911, and you know, me being a 1911 guy, just kind of, that's it. You know, I mean, this is my favorite of all of them. You know, a Commander variant, 9mm. So, and that's I just kind of weeded out a lot of things out of the collection, and we did sell off quite a bit more stuff recently. A big handful of stuff pretty much went down, and we got rid of, or I got rid of, out of my personal collection. But anyway, no, cool stuff. I mean, I've handled them, I checked them out, they look cool. You know, but it's a little too much away from the traditional thing for me, aesthetics wise. Like I said, I'm sure it runs like a champ, and probably better than all the older ones for sure. All right, Danger Man. I owned a Norinco 1911 years ago, and it was a great gun. It cost a whopping $313 back in 1992. It was basically a GI Colt with better sights. Yeah, and that's kind of what I heard about it too. A lot of things, you know, they were coming up there, and the Norincos were on the top of the list. People were, you know, getting. The finish was mattish blue, but it wasn't the prettiest gun out there. Once the break-in period of 200 hardball was done, that thing ate my hollow point and was very accurate. I remember my buddy and I at the range being able to hit a nickel at 7 yards with it. Wish I still had it. Heard a lot of good stories about that kind of stuff, and there's a lot of really other good firearms out there, and that's kind of hence the name of this episode here. We'll get to talking about that. And you guys know I really love Colt. I love the name, I love the history, but there is so much other things out there that has surpassed them by miles that you know, you can't help but, you know, realize that. So, but don't get me wrong, I love the old Colt 45. It's history, it's, you know, near and dear and everything like that. But I mean, it's so odd that, you know, even myself, I don't shoot many of them anymore. All right, Squib. I had the resin pack in my water softener break. Oh man, that sounds terrible. After getting what I thought all of it out of the water lines, aerators, and fill valves, I started having issues with the water heater. I ended up shutting it down and flushing out several times to get all those resin beads out of the bottom of the tank. Time-consuming job. I put on the show to help me pass the time. Thanks. Also, the light special loads line at the police firing range made the scene in Magnum Force. Yes. Wow, Squib, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, you know, that's the sucky thing about, you know, when you have a home and everything like that, and all those things, you know, just hit you like that. I just recently did a termite treatment done on my place, and, you know, I didn't have termites, but I ended up doing the treatment anyway, and it was like $1,000. And then, you know, that's crazy, you know, just all this stuff that costs money, and you just hope and pray that, you know, nothing severe goes wrong or whatnot. And, you know, I mean, that's the thing too. It's always, and that's the way life goes, you know. I mean, we just hope that we don't ever have to, you know, end up in those, and try to fix it ourselves the best we can. I had my toilet, or not my toilet, but my tub was backing up, and I, you know, instead of calling the plumber, I ended up going and getting one of those hand snakes and running that down there. But I tell you what really helped me was actually researching how you use those things. I think that was the most important thing, was actually researching on what you need to do when you're actually using those on your homes, you know, by yourself, without, you know, having the plumber or whatnot. So, all right, but I was able to fix that, yes. But anyway, sorry to happen, Squib. Mike, picked up a 97 Winchester a couple of years ago. I thought it was a Norinco when I saw it on the shop wall because it looked so new. It was an original, manufactured 1908. Paid $650 asking price without blinking. Somebody had a safe queen for a very, very long time. Yes, excellent score. Anytime we can get, as we like to call it, new old stock is always a great day, because it's like, you know, having it, you know, brand new, only it's a time capsule that you get to kind of have and play with. So that's always awesome. Squib Lift, Great comments on Jaws. It might be our family's favorite movie. I know it was mine. My grandmother scared the holy hell out of us with that in the early, or what was it? I want to say later 80s. I'm sorry. Yeah, later 80s. The mechanical shark was state-of-the-art special effects for the 70s. Yes, it was. But the actors really had to act back then as opposed to today, where everything is CGI and BS, real acting by real actors. What a novel idea, right? Actors are they're not what they used to be, where you had guys like Bogart, and stuff like that, where, all you had to do was pop up on the screen, light a cigarette, and man, I tell you, you just had your attention. If I would say one of the actors that I really like in these modern times and modern movies, and I actually went to go see one of the latest movies he did, I'm a really big fan of Denzel Washington. I really like his movies. I like his acting, his style, the way he is able to portray these characters that you could almost say are all very similar, but what he brings to the table, I really do feel like he's just awesome. He's obviously not one of those guys that are rocking out the six-pack of abs and, taking, all these like really muscle-bound, scenes and stuff, but I think he's a real throwback actor, and it's crazy to think that guy is actually getting up there in age too. But The Equalizer 3, by the way, I'm a big fan of the Equalizer movies, the remake that he's been involved in. Just phenomenal. What an excellent movie. I really like that movie series. All right, Warren. The magazine issue is amusing to me because people want two when they purchase the gun, but complain they suck. So manufacturers give one so people can buy Wilson's. So people also complain that the gun comes with one magazine. Thanks for the memories. I come from the same generation. Yeah, that's a good point. For me, I tell you, when I ever pick up if I pick up a new 1911 whatnot, usually the stock magazines or whatever they come with, unless it's some I know the Springfield Masterclass Vickers 1911 45 auto, that one comes with two Vickers Elite magazines, so those are good magazines obviously, but a lot of times like Colt will throw in the Mekar made magazine that just has their logo on the bottom, but it's not even made by them anymore. Honestly, I leave those in the box for when, pretty much if I decide to sell the thing, I have those in there already. But a lot of times, yeah, I leave those right in the box. I don't even mess with them. So when I do sell the thing, those go right with it. So yeah. The one magazine that I did notice that was pretty decent was the SA35 high power copy magazine that came with the SA35. That one, I did use that while I had the thing, while we was messing around with it and shooting videos with it and stuff like that. So really cool. It was a nice gun, but on its way down the road it went. You can't keep them all. All right. Crazy Scotsman, he's back to being crazy. Awesome show, brother. Stay to the end, of course. All great movies, and I agree on Magnum Force. Some really cool scenes. It is the small details that make a movie great. It is. It really is. A lot of those little minor things are just phenomenal. All right, Slim Fire, great radio talk, and some awesome movies too. Have a good weekend, Slim. You too. Hopefully everybody's having a good weekend. And KSFWG, Halloween 98 comes out April 1st, 2024. The scene from Magnum Force you mentioned is my favorite of all Dirty Harry movies. Number 2 is the bank robbery scene at the beginning of the first movie. Yeah, I mean the bank robbery scene is that's iconic. It always will be. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I always said my favorite Dirty Harry movie is Magnum Force, because Magnum Force was written by John Milius. If you don't know who John Milius is, shame on you. I'm just kidding. John Milius is he's awesome. Another great John Milius movie. If you like the old school stuff, watch a movie called Dillinger. I don't remember exactly when it came out. but it's got Warren Oates in it. Warren Oates portrays John Dillinger in it. What a great movie. If you love 1911s, 97 shotguns, all the cool stuff, Browning BARs, go watch that movie. Do yourself a favor and watch that movie. Fantastic movie. All right. Jeffrey Richardson, very good video. Thank you. We appreciate that. Okay, so we got through all the comments. And the other thing, last thing I want to talk about, and that's one of the things I was kind of thinking about the title and what we're going to discuss on this. And really it is, because I'm a collector. I always kind of have been a collector. I do enjoy collecting. But sometimes my finances can't justify the collector's market. A lot of us are in the same boat where we just cannot justify some of the prices for these things. I've seen, I seen a Colt commercial gun from probably the 40s or something like that. It was, had its own cardboard box, the original one and everything like that. I saw it in this one. But, I couldn't justify $3,500 for it. I couldn't. I said, I can't, a lot of the stuff I did have over the years that, of course, since I've moved on from a lot of them, but I was really lucky to get stuff that I was able to pay a little bit lower price. Maybe it was flawed. Maybe it had something like where, they may have modified it a little bit, but it wasn't modified in such a way that it detracted from it dramatically. It was enough where I could live with it, so that kind of stuff. Also, the thing that I wanted a good example is the Cimarron made, or Uberti or whatever, Pieta, they're imported by either Cimarron or Taylor's and Company or somebody along those lines, and they're the copies of like the single action armies right here. They're great. They do the half cock and free up the loading gate and all that, and the cylinders so you can load them up and everything. They're great. I have a lot of fun with them. They're fun to take to the range. They're fun to just sit there and have and just mess with. Of course, putting different stocks on it. Of course, you can tell I'm a big fan of John Wayne. But I'd rather have one of these, for whatever they are, $500-600. You can get them used, really a good price, as long as they're mechanically sound, and they're great. They're perfectly fine, and I'm totally fine with having this over spending $3,000-4,000 on a legitimate Colt that I may scream like a little girl when I scratch it at the range or it drops. That one has been dropped. But that's just me. I mean, some people, they want to do that. That's fine. They go out and they'll buy the Colt. They'll spend the money and have the Colt. Lord knows I got a lot of Colt 1911s. That's kind of like, I love the history of them. Are there better 1911s out there? Oh, you bet. Absolutely. Got one right here. Springfield Armory. Ronin, my Ronin model. Lightweight Commander, 9mm. I wouldn't trade this for a Colt. I love this thing too much. It's tough. It just handles. I mean, I take this to the range and I just start, dumping magazines through it, and it's really barely starting to loosen up on me, where I gotta admit, I'm gonna be totally honest. I had Colts that I had had shot less rounds through than this, and they're rattle traps, man. I mean, I tell you, you can hear that slide going back and forth like a trailer going down a rickety hill. I tell you, and I mean, I'm not, you know me. I love Colt, but I gotta, I'm just speaking the truth, fellas. I'm just speaking the truth. In fact, it was kind of funny. I'm not sure how many, if I've mentioned it really clearly, but I mean, I'm gonna say it. Right? I'm not the biggest fan of the Gold Cup. I have a couple of them. I have mainly the one I have that I just keep it because of the movie relationship, the movie Cobra with Sylvester Stallone. But I'm not the biggest fan of that gun. I think it's kind of a fragile gun. I really do. And both of mine that I own, that I honestly, if I'm going to sell one, I'm going to sell the 45 auto, which that's probably going to be taken down next. But they're really rattle traps. I mean, that 9mm one I got is really loose. I shot it not all that much either. I maybe put 500 rounds through it, but it's really loose. It's so loose that I'm not really. It's just like I put it away and I don't take it out anymore. But it was really a shame, that it's like that. So, and I do know that they kind of were designed to shoot lighter loads. But I thought 9mm, why would it do that? I mean, it's just 9mm in a platform that was designed for the 45 auto. So, that kind of, a little bit, made me think about that. But anyway, when you've got other things out there, and other thing I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit was I'm glad in a way, and this is where it kind of gets a little tricky, because you'll hear a lot of the real diehard purist collectors really trash these things because and really because it hurts. It does. Ultimately, I don't care. It hurts the market value for the originals. And what I'm talking about is stuff like, and it's not necessarily other companies doing it. It's like a good example is the new Colt Python. 2020 Colt Pythons came out again, and then they started redoing a bunch of other ones. So you got the 6-inch barrel, the 4, the 3. What a phenomenal setup. It's great that they're out there. I'm so happy that they've done it, because now it allows you to go out there, get a Python, and spend whatever they are. And I'm not saying they're cheap, but they're $1,400, something like that. But it beats paying somebody that they were starting to approach to where it's like $4,000 in some cases. Where I think it opens up the market where a little bit where people that were like, hey, I just kind of want one because of nostalgia, or just kind of want one because of this movie or something like that. Now they're able to do that and get those. And did it hurt the value a little bit of the old ones? I would say yeah, a little bit, because I can tell you now, just from my experience, I can go onto those auction sites and you literally can buy one of those old ones for like $2,000. Where not before all that, you couldn't do that. That was not possible. So I'm all for those repros. I really am. I wish one of the things I wish Colt would do is offer on, like, as a regular product line, a regular, always available out there product line of replicas of the World War I and World War II 1911s. I wish they would offer, and they have the capability to do that because they've done it and they got them out there. And I actually prefer those. They're really cool. I wish those would be standard offering on their product line, and do it for a price that is just reasonable. Like, get a 1911 out there for a reasonable price, because you've got other companies like Springfield Armory that could make a GI spec 1911 for the $500-600 price point, and they're using forged slide and frame and good barrels and everything. Colt, they could do it. I wish they would, instead of making these things like these kind of limited edition collector's items, limited to 4,000 or whatever they've done. And, and it drives people to be paying $2,500 for these things and stuff, when I think originally they were only supposed to be around the $700-800 range, which is, nice. I mean, that's the other thing too with their new Colt Classic. That was supposed to be like a $750-800 1911. Now it's $1,000. Do I still think it's worth it? Yeah, it's still a good 1911. I do have one. I like it. Don't intend to sell it anytime soon. But again, it's like it was not intended to be that pricey. So it just, you can take it and look at it any way you want. I'm looking at it through perspective of, look, hey, if I was rich and I just had a bunch of money, I wouldn't care. But I'm, as a consumer, as a basic consumer, I'm a check to check kind of guy. We all live paycheck to paycheck, especially in this time going on, with gas prices, grocery prices. Walk out of the grocery store with a, big bag of groceries. And you look at how much it just costed you. It certainly doesn't add up anymore. So, but, it's the way it is. But I am glad. I gotta say, I'm really glad that a lot of these companies, and it's not like it's somebody like a different company making a reproduction of that company's stuff and putting it out there. It's the actual company, like I said, like Colt, making their Python. It's not like somebody else made the Python or something. It's them. They're doing it, and I'm glad they are. I really am. I think remaking the snake guns and stuff like that Colt was doing, they are doing, is probably the best thing they could do. I really do. I think that's awesome that they're doing that. As long as we can keep those prices reasonable, then I think we're on top of it. And I'm waiting to see them do the Python in royal blue. That's going to be phenomenal. And then also, their 1911s and stuff like that. Yeah, offer their, higher end souped up stuff, and then offer those basic models that are, a throwback to the old school, 1911s. I think that would be fantastic, to be able to do that. But yeah, those are, great. The other thing I wanted to say too is, recently too, and I'm going to say that evil word here, but you know what? We just got to say it. The retro Glock. Glock has now gone back and made a repop of the original Gen 1 17. That people, can you believe this? Okay, people were paying like $2,500 for an original like late 80s Glock Gen 1. Blows my mind. I would never pay that kind of price for it. I'm sorry. Some of you are really big, hard Glock fans. I don't have a problem with the pistol. I think it works. I love the pistol. I love the simplicity of it. But mainly, there's a few movies that have it in it that I kind of relate to. But other than that, that's about it for me. Take it or leave it. I mean, I'm okay with them. Not my favorite pistol by far. But just I can't. No way. I mean, I have a friend that way back used to collect them. I thought he was nuts, but hey, as it turns out, I mean, he wasn't entirely wrong. I mean, some of those Gen 1s, like I said, are going up their price, but now what's cool is they actually are now offering a repop of that Glock Gen 1, and those are $500, $600, so that's great. And I think that's awesome because it allowed the market, a lot of us that were like, hey, that would be cool to have for nostalgia, or just always wanted to have the original configuration. Now you can for the proper price, instead of paying these over exaggerated prices. These prices have come out, insane. Now, and then not only that, you have something that's newly made that you can actually have fun with and take it to the range and blow some rounds through it and just start burning up some magazines, which is great. Love that. So anyway, appreciate everybody coming and hanging out and checking out the radio show again this time around. We're gonna get ahead and get out of here so everybody else can enjoy their weekend.